Fuck! Welcome to the Homespun Yak, folks. I am really upset, and Kyle probably knows in just a second why I'm upset.
Yep. I'm also mad.
Yeah. Dude, I saw that email and I was
Were you even expecting it slightly?
No, not even
either.
for a millisecond.
I wasn't either.
I feel like we just got these tickets. I feel like we just got them.
I know.
Like just a month ago.
Tell the people at home what happened.
So Kyle and I, if we go way back, if we go back to last year.
Go back to 1998.
I had moved to North Carolina, United States. But so last year we had planned to go see Rammstein, which they were coming to Washington D.C. Actually, technically the field is in Maryland. So going to the Washington football
team. Be careful, please.
Going to the Washington football team stadium where they were going to be playing, and Benny Bourbon was going to be joining us. However, that fell through because of, I don't know, some bug going around, and that got canceled completely. And then
the whole tour did.
The whole tour got canceled, and then they rescheduled it, and they literally like a month ago, like you told me that they had redone it in Philly, except so instead of being at the Washington football team stadium, they're going to do it at the Philadelphia Eagles stadium. Cool, fine. So we jumped on that opportunity. It was even cheaper. The tickets were even cheaper, so that was even better, except for the drive. But like I've never been to Philly, so it would have been perfect. And yeah, like a month ago, 6 weeks ago, I don't know, some time that was relatively recent, we got these tickets. And now I opened my phone up today at work, and there's this email, and it says Rammstein concert, and it just says rescheduled. Oh my God. I just stared at it for, I don't know, probably a good 5-10 seconds. I was like, what? Why? That's what I want to know. Why?
And there's no reason, and there's no date, and there's
no reason,
no confirmation of a venue change, a time, nothing. So it's being.
They do have I don't have my phone on me. They do have a time. So it's the same date, I think, just 1 year from now that they've set it up. Yeah. Yeah.
It's pushed back another year.
Yes, right. Yeah, it's exactly 1 year from now.
So August 28th, 2022 now? Was supposed to be 2020.
Yeah.
Originally.
Exactly. Yes, so it's going to be another year, and then it'll probably get canceled now.
Oh, my God. They're going to be like 70 when we see them.
Dude, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wow, these guys are going to be, they were like, do, and then they were like, I forgot the lyrics.
Yeah, I'm actually pulling up Rolling Stone article now. Rammstein reschedule first North American stadium tour for 2022.
Right. So that's the situation. I was really, you know what upsets me the most though is that there's no reason. They didn't offer a reason, and on top of that, all my concerts have been canceled. By the way, every single one of them. Or I guess I should say canceled or postponed. Every concert this year has been postponed or canceled. So they rescheduled everything. And then as things are opening up, like significantly, they cancel everything. That makes no fucking sense. No fucking sense. And
no.
And then I sent you kind of in a sarcastic way about like, well, I mean, if they can't do it in this NFL stadium, well, then surely they won't have any NFL games, right? And then you sent me an article about.
Well, yeah, it was the wrong stadium.
It doesn't matter. Like the point is that they're going to be packing these football stadiums filled
to full capacity.
Full capacity, but we can't have a concert. What? What?
No. Yeah, I'm looking at basically the NFL put out a thing for every team, announce like what they're planning on doing, and now I'm looking at the Eagles. Today's announcement by the city of Philadelphia to lift stadium capacity limits in time for the start of the 2021 NFL season is tremendous news for the Eagles, our fans, and the community.
Truly tremendous news for Eagles fans. Like a month after this concert was supposed to happen, they're just going to have full capacity. What a joke.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the article just doesn't even, it just says rescheduled. No reason why, nothing.
Yeah, but you can imagine why. Like, why would they even set up this whole thing again just to end up rescheduling? It's just stunning to me. Like, I don't know who's in charge, but they should be chopped up. Fuck them. Like, fuck them. Seriously. Like, what the hell?
I know. Yeah, and just to be like, oh yeah, and to not know that it was going to be canceled. Like, it's only been a month, like you said.
Exactly.
What
and
the hell changed in a month? Yeah,
Things have only improved. That's the thing. That's what gets me. None of this makes sense because, like,
it's probably Ticketmaster or something. I don't know.
This morning I was listening to NPR and they were like, yeah, 8 states are now at the mandatory 70% vaccine like point, which is essentially like herd immunity. That's the idea. If you have 70% vaccination, and like they were all northeastern states. Okay. And for some reason we can't
That's where we're going.
Yeah, we can't go to Philly apparently. I don't
we're
get
still
that.
Going.
Yeah. And again, and on top of that too, it's just like we've got so many months until this concert. What? Like, I don't understand why can't we get?
We're over 3 months away.
There's definitely going to be some more vaccinations between now and then. And the numbers, as far as I haven't kept up with the COVID numbers, full disclosure, so I don't know if they've increased or not, but I can't imagine that they have. So I just don't understand. No. None of it makes sense, and I am bitching about it, and I'm livid because I'm going to have to wait over 2 years to see.
I know. We were supposed to be 30 when we saw them. Now we will be 32.
40.
Yeah, they'll be 48. And they will literally be coming out in canes and walkers. They really will. Sucks. It just really blows.
Yeah.
Like, I bought the plane ticket, everything.
Oh my
already.
God. Can you get So what's going to happen with that then? Do you know? I mean, you're still welcome to come up here. Yeah. We can still have a blast, but
yeah. I mean, I'm just going to come. I don't care. I already took work off. Like,
let's do it. We just made plans on the podcast.
This is none of you guys' business. I'm looking at Rammstein's Twitter. I don't know if they even have a Twitter. They don't.
They don't? Okay.
So, there you go.
Yeah. So, anyway, that Parkway Drive got canceled. Hatebreed, Fit for a King, everyone, literally everyone canceled. They all rescheduled, by the way. They all rescheduled, and then they all rescheduled again. They made like this big announcement. They're like, yeah, it was like several months ago. Everybody was like, yeah, we're doing it this year, 2021. And everything seems to be improving. Like, I don't know what threshold we have to hit. 100% vaccination where nobody ever gets sick? A utopian world before we can have these concerts? I don't get it. Anyway.
Yeah, they said on their website, due to the expected ongoing event bans and restrictions related to COVID-19, we unfortunately are forced to postpone the stadium tour again. So I imagine some of these stadiums would not allow full capacity, and it's like...
Yep, so they canceled the whole thing.
So they just canceled the whole thing because they that video that I sent you, which
Oh
basically
yeah.
takes a whole week to set up the
Yes.
thing, and the
Yeah.
cost involved is like, if we're gonna fill all these stadiums to capacity, like we're not gonna do it if we can't do that,
Right.
just because you're scared of getting COVID. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. But now I'm honing in on all the liberal states just to figure out
Oh, California.
which state probably caused this cancellation. And if they go to California, that's
Certainly not
definitely one of
Florida.
them.
Certainly not
None
Texas.
of the southern ones. I can say
No,
that much. It's probably not
not
Philly
Georgia.
either.
Probably not Philly.
No.
No. So I don't know. I mean, there really wasn't any in the South. There was one in Mexico. Um, I think Mexico City
Hmm.
was supposed to do one, but
Mexico City, yeah. Um,
and then like Montreal. But those are like the only ones outside of. Yeah.
but it makes sense. Like I like if even like two stadiums probably were like, oh, we can't do it anymore. Probably the amount of money that they were going to make was just going to plummet, because you got to think, like, let's say 30,000, 40,000 people go to this stuff and they pay $100 a pop, which is very conservative. Then I mean they're losing tons and tons of money. I don't even want to do the math. $4
Yeah.
million on that per stadium.
I know. Yeah, they're like, we have the ability to sell out stadiums, and if we're not able to do it at capacity like we initially planned, then we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Montreal, Minneapolis, that could be one. Philly, Chicago, that's definitely one, because the mayor there is an absolute lunatic.
Oh yes, I a massive hypocrite, massive
Yeah.
hypocrite. She's just like Nancy Pelosi with the whole
Oh my
hairdressing thing. You
God.
remember
Yeah.
that? Like, I mean, I know
Yeah.
you remember the Nancy Pelosi thing, but like the mayor was just
Lori Lightfoot.
yeah, just like telling people what to do, and then she got her own like personal barber to come in and just like
Yeah.
do her hair
Just
and
get your own
everything.
personal
And
person
then
to come
took
in,
a
guys.
picture with
What's the
this person
problem?
and then posted
Yeah.
it. What?
Complete moron.
Oh
Complete
man.
fool. These mayors think they have so much power, but Chicago, New York City, the Giants Stadium, then the Patriots Stadium in Boston, San Antonio, LA, and then Mexico City.
I think probably Chicago, maybe New York, even though they're definitely opening up a lot.
Yeah.
And because De Blasio is kind of a moron.
Oh, it's
Do you see
slightly,
his no, one of my friends, one of my friends, I'm not going to mention his name. One of my friends sent me a clip of Blasio just eating a burger or something, and he's just like in the news conference, and he's just like, man, this is a great burger, and just talking about this like hamburger, and like everybody's
The
so
guy's an idiot.
confused. Everybody's so
Yeah.
and they're like, he's like, don't you wish that you could have this or something along those lines? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like the coronavirus enabled everybody to like now know who these mayors of these cities
Yeah,
are
yeah,
in such an
yeah.
intimate way, and it's like
Yeah.
they just thought they were the president or something equivalent, like during the whole thing. But the best clip was like was De Blasio. It was like outside in like February in New York City, and there was like all these Broadway dancers like doing stuff outside, and it's like 2 degrees, and he's like New York is back. We are back. The arts are here to stay. We are
It's
back.
like 4 people.
Yeah, like watching like what is happening here. Like New York is back.
was-
Support the arts.
It
Like
was so pitiful.
dude,
It
you
was
are
so bad.
so delusional.
It totally like it to me. It looked like a carcass being picked apart. Like it looked so bad. Oh man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll stand outside and pay to watch people just flash dance in the middle of the street, like in freezing cold weather? Of course we will. It's the equivalent of going to see Phantom of the Opera, like inside the actual arena or whatever you want to call it. But
theater.
Yeah, theater. Yeah, Broadway. I don't even know if that's back or not, but I imagine it will be soon. That just took a massive hit.
I think in Baltimore they're just starting back up. I think soon, or maybe they already have. I don't know about the whole like theater pieces and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever get that role in Newsies that you auditioned for?
No, I never got a call back.
Paperboy 3.
They just couldn't recognize talent.
Yeah. There's no 6'6" Paperboys.
They also didn't think I was light enough on my feet.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll try again.
I probably will, yeah.
Didn't we act once in 7th grade?
Dude, we acted many times. I don't remember all the different times we've acted, but we've definitely
Arsenic and Old Lace. I feel like we acted in that.
I don't think I was in that. No, okay. But I went and saw the performance. Oh, it moved me.
Yeah,
truly, as a 7th grader.
Yeah, I mean. Fantastic. I played Jonathan, the evil brother.
Okay. Well, that's fitting.
Yeah.
On multiple fronts.
Multiple, yes. A murderous psychopath.
Yeah. All I remember the acting wise was for like French class or German class as well, where we had to go do those performances at the German day and stuff like that.
Yep.
Sing "Oh Champs-Élysées,"
and then we won first place. I don't know.
Yeah. I still put down my CV.
Like, what?
Like the person French interviewing me asks, like it's like going over my CV. I just like lean over. I'm I just want to point this out right here.
You didn't ask about this. French Day 2003.
2003. They're doing the math in their head like, how old was this dude then?
My first and only major accomplishment.
Yes. So, one more. We
wrote a play.
Did we write a play? Oh, yeah, we did. That's true.
And then other people sang the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah.
The, what would I call them? Degenerates of the class.
That, and then this was a failed attempt by us, because I remember I was really mad about this, and admittedly I shouldn't have been, because my mom was completely right. We were supposed to do like a German skit, remember? And it was Eddie, you, me, and maybe like one or two other people. We were Rammstein.
Yes. I remember Ian Drawn and maybe one other guy from like the 9th grade at the time.
Yeah.
We were in it, and I don't know what happened. I remember like.
I remember exactly what happened. Like we went through the whole thing, and like each one of us was like a different person on Rammstein, and we recorded it, and like we were playing like the music and all that stuff in the auditorium or whatever you want to call that, and then. But it turned out we were just like acting the song, but we weren't actually. We were supposed to have like dialogue, like actual, like have like a conversation and stuff. So we like brought it to my mom, who, for anybody who's not familiar, we're not just like randomly doing this for my mom. We
were home practicing. We dressed up in his dad's clothes.
She was the German teacher at the time, and then like we brought it to her, and she was like, "Okay, I mean it's great, but you're gonna fail because you didn't have any dialogue. You didn't do what the assignment was. So then we had to go back, and we ended up having like an interview piece at the beginning or something like that like qualified as dialogue. Oh man, good times.
It was.
On a separate note, though, I did send this to, or no, maybe I just mentioned it and you'd already seen it. Joe Biden's comments as he's in that
God.
truck. You want to explain what happened with that?
He was at Ford, and I'm guessing it was Michigan. I don't know. I think that's where Ford's based, but
yeah, sounds about right.
But he's driving that new electric F-150 that's going to come out soon. And, of course, all the press were out there and cheering him on as he drove a car because it's so difficult. But he pulled up to the press and, this is in the height of the recent Israeli-Palestine conflict, the fighting. And someone was like, Joe, like, what do you have to say today about Israel? Like, are you, when are you going to like meet with them and try to do some sort of ceasefire? Like, what's going on basically? And he's like, I'll tell you, but you got to get in front of this car as I floor it. And they're like, what? And he's like, I'm just kidding. And then he just floors it.
He floors it, yeah. Dude,
and they like cheer for him and stuff. It's just so dumb.
You can see how somebody like Donald Trump would get in that position and be like, everyone loves me, because like at least anybody that's in close vicinity, because the way the reporters were talking to good old Joey boy, they were just so like, hey, Mr. President, like they just get so nervous. It's like, I don't know. I feel like I get in that job for about a week, and for sure, for the first few days, I'd be kind of awestruck. But after that, I'd be like, God, who cares?
You have to just like straight up ask. Yeah, you got to be assertive and ask.
Yeah, but they are like his cheerleading squad. Like, it was so weird.
Yeah, strange.
Whoa, yeah. He drove off. Yeah. He put his foot down a little bit more on the gas pedal or on the electric pedal.
Oh God. And then like on the way back, he fell asleep at the wheel, and they had to like cut the camera. But just you just have to imagine if Trump said that comment.
Oh,
it would be all over the headlines. Yeah.
Misogynist, racist. Donald Trump.
Turns out it was a black woman who asked him, "Is Donald Trump racist?" We asked his janitor from 1979 that worked at the building on E.
Exactly. I remember one time he didn't say good morning to me. Yeah. Politics. It really is a clown show.
Yep. It is. I don't know if you saw this Netflix documentary on David Berkowitz, the son of Sam.
No.
Basically, he was a guy who was arrested and sent to jail for life in New York City for the murder of, I think, like 6 to 8 people over the span of like 1 year in New York City. Like, terrorized the city. Basically, people were scared to go out because it was just random. Like, it would be in Brooklyn, it would be in Queens, it would be in Yonkers. It would be, it would be in all over the place. Things would happen. Yeah. And basically, he would write letters to the police, like, I am son of Sam, and like, cryptic letters that didn't really make any sense and like bad spelling. And so it just became like this blown up thing during the 70s in New York City, which was already falling apart. The city was. And when they finally caught this guy, this reporter, this investigative journalist was looking a lot more deeper into it and was like, this doesn't really check out, that because he was here when one of these murders took place, yet he's taking credit for all of the murders. And then they kind of go deeper into it where they find it was like this cult, this like satanic cult that would meet in like this random park underground in New York City and like do crazy rituals and like dog sacrifice and like wild
Well, now
initiation.
They went too far. With 6 to 8 people, I was like, man, that's concerning, but a dog sacrifice? Okay.
Yeah.
You have my attention.
Now you've drawn the line.
The line.
And he linked it all the way to like this new religion that was starting in England that was like just purely about chaos and like satanic elements to it. And they're like, this could go really deep. This could go, and this guy like kind of went nuts like kind of at the end because he was just like, nobody believes me, like that it's all these people are connected. And eventually the guy, David Berkowitz, the son of Sam, who was in jail, like admitted like, yeah, I wasn't the only one in it. It was a lot deeper than this. But, I guess ultimately we'll never know who the other people were that did the killings. But like they say it like is connected to Charles Manson in a way, like out in California. And it just goes worldwide with like trafficking and all this kind of stuff. But it was an interesting documentary because I'd heard of the Son of Sam, but I was not familiar with what exactly went down.
How do you get groups of people like that together too? Like, how do you like get involved in something like that? I'm not asking for myself, but I'm asking like in a situation like that, like how do you probe that question? So, like, hey, so you cool with like you want to kill Lisa over there?
Yeah, I think it was just like outcast kids who were like,
not picked
maybe
for softball.
Yeah, just like preyed upon, or they were loners and like, hey, you want to just like join this group? And at the beginning, it was just like,
go kill a dog.
it was, and then it grew to more serious and sinister things as like higher up people got involved and took advantage of kids that had nothing going on, basically.
Can you imagine
could be manipulated.
Those people are still alive. I mean, so they know what they did. Like they know that they killed.
And a lot of the people that like they were connecting the dots to around that area at that time, like had gone missing when David Berkowitz was captured. Like, and people were putting together, and they're like, oh, let's like ask these guys some questions, and they're like, oh, he skipped town like a week ago, and then he turns up murdered in like North Dakota, and then like his brother is murdered or like gets into like this car accident. He's by himself driving on a highway and like runs directly into a wall at like 98 miles an hour, just like checks out.
Yeah, checks out.
So as people like got closer to these individuals who were almost certainly involved in some way, they kept dying. Or if one person was like, hey, I have information and like I'll be willing to talk, they were killed, or like they somehow miraculously died. And so you could never really get close. The closer you got, like more people died. So it was like if you ratted on anybody, then it was game over. Yeah.
Satan would get you.
Pretty much.
That's why you don't listen to heavy metal music, kids.
Nope. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise that this concert was canceled.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That went full circle.
The Lord. Yeah.
Went full circle.
What do you think?
Yeah. Now that you put it in that light. Maybe I should just focus on reestablishing myself for the Paperboy 3. Focus on
Newsies. West Side Story.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you put as much energy into that as you do satanic rock music, rock and roll music,
Rock and roll.
then maybe you could be of some service to society and to yourself.
Instead of being a bum like
I mean,
you are.
find meaning here, Nick. Find meaning with your life. Be responsible for once.
Have you even made your bed yet, for Christ's sake?
Bloody heck, man.
Oh, I got a little further in that book. I got through chapter 6. I dug
Very
my
good.
way through that. So I'm on chapter 7 now. I did write some notes down, but they're on my phone. I forgot what chapter 6 was really about, but yeah, I don't know.
No worries.
I don't remember.
It's fine.
It's
I don't either.
Actually, let me look up the title, because I think Beyond Order Rules. Here we go. Okay, abandon ideology. That's it. Okay, yeah. So he was talking about how you should abandon the idea of having a monolith in terms of your understanding of the world, like having a single variable be the explanation for everything, because that ends up becoming an ideology, and then you just start like associating everything according to this plan, this one variable. A good example of this, which is something that he mentions briefly, is like the patriarchy. The only reason why people struggle is because of the patriarchy. Like if you start relating, you link everything in your life to, oh, well, it's because of the patriarchy, then you never end up, one, taking accountability for yourself, and two,
you make excuses.
Yeah, you make excuses, and then you're looking outward, you're looking at other people's dirt, and you're not looking inward at your own dirt. And another thing before I forget is he also mentions that you shouldn't be so focused on the big ideas, like patriarchy is just kind of a general term, right? Patriarchy. But he says that you should focus far more on the small things that you can actually actionably change, because that actually gives you a plan of like, this is what I'm going to do from now on, or this is how I'm going to try to enact this change in this injustice that I see. And so it's far more on a individual level than, excuse me, Corona. So, and I do agree, like you got people that are just like screaming about all kinds of stuff. But it's just kind of generally like, oh, I don't know, ACAB, all cops are bastards. Like, for example, just as one example, it's just like, throw that out there, and then what? What's after that? You just see a cop and you're like, hey, fuck you. And then what? What happens after that?
Yeah.
Right?
How does that improve your life?
Yeah, how does it improve your life? And if you truly believe that, fine. I obviously disagree, but fine. But what are you going to do? Are you going to actually go out and try to mobilize or try to volunteer in a certain way that's going to, like, are you going to patrol your neighborhood for X amount of time throughout the day? Like, are you going to volunteer for that? Like
some sort of Robin Hood figure.
Yeah, exactly. Like that kind of stuff. And then on that topic, on NPR actually this morning, they were talking about how Minnesota, how I think it was Minneapolis, the council or whatever had said that they wanted to defund the police and all that. They were like standing by the sign and saying like, we're going to defund the police. And this was a year ago after the whole George Floyd thing. And apparently that didn't happen. But now they're trying to pass this resolution, which is going to go to table in fall. I don't know why it takes so long, but that's politics for you. So, and this resolution is to essentially move some money from, not actually from the police. So the police actually got like $7 million more or something like that. They got a lot more money. So they completely did not defund the police. But on top of that, they're going to be paying more money into like paying for homeless shelters and paying for like volunteer services and stuff like that. And I was thinking in my head, I was trying to make the connection between that and what I heard on Joe Rogan, which I think we talked about, where the amount of money that, for example, like Los Angeles has put into their homeless population problem is in the billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. Billions of dollars. And the homeless problem
in the country.
It's the biggest problem. So clearly throwing more money at this, whatever the issue is not the issue. You know, that's not the problem. I just find that stuff like really funny. So that's why, like, going back to the Jordan Peterson thing, I think that as an individual, seeing a problem and saying, I want to fix that, I'm going to fix that, and actually actively trying to fix that in your small bubble or what you can manage is far more beneficial than just saying, fuck the patriarchy or ACAB or, you know, whatever, Black Lives Matter, like doing something for Black Lives Matter, for example. Like, if, you know, it's just being actionable. I think that was a good point on his part. Of course, he went into
especially
about 1,000 stories. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He just went into 1,000 stories, and I really had to focus. I sat at the park for 2 hours, and I just sat there and just, it was in audiobook form, so I was just listening. I was listening really intently.
And does he read it?
Yeah, he reads it. Yeah, he does a good job.
Good. Yeah, when you make these massive generalizations, these large, far-fetched claims about something, you know, typically they don't have a solution, or the solution is just so broad and generalized that it really provides no real answers. I mean, people saw this guy, you know, kneel on George Floyd's neck and said, all cops are bad, and then what can we do about it? Don't give them any more money, or basically abolish the police. So it's definitely easy to, you know, look at that situation and, you know, obviously you want to re-examine what the hell is going on in the police forces, and
sure,
you know, you want to be a little bit more specific. You know, start with that individual, then start with that police force in Minneapolis. Look at what they're doing wrong. Look at what maybe other police forces in more urban neighborhoods are doing right. Talk to the community, talk to them. What kind of training are they doing? You know, is it the training intense enough? Is it, you know, does it involve actually community outreach and just establishing good relationships with people before, you know, you start patrolling areas? I mean, there's so many different moving pieces to that whole scene that I don't even want to claim to know what would be the best start. But yeah, when people just start making broad, sweeping generalizations with no history or experience within that particular field, they just want to play, you know, keyboard judge, purely based on emotions that are occurring in their body, then I don't know how you combat that, especially in today's age where you can get so much traction and so much volatility and so much reaction just off of Twitter. Something so easy as just typing something out, and then I don't have to back that up. I don't have to do anything, do any work, provide any evidence. It's now out there forever, and it's going to sway certain people. It might not all people, but it's just, people need to, I wish people did a better job of like really thinking before they spoke, but that's a lot to ask.
Yeah, which is funny, right? Just that simple ask. They don't have to
Just
move.
think.
They don't have to do anything. Just think.
Yeah, and then talk.
Yeah, and then talk. He sort of addresses it because he talks about how he thinks that people just jump on these bandwagons essentially, and then once it gets filled up, they just try to find something else that's kind of new and exciting, and then they jump on that and just start yelling about that, and then it's just a continuous cycle of that. And these people don't actually get anything done. Yeah, but they don't get anything done. They just focus on who can we cancel next, because they're just
it's the next rush.
Yeah, exactly.
The next hit rush of dopamine. Next hit of cancel heroin.
Exactly. Yeah.
Caitlyn Jenner equates Silicon Valley to Soviet Union in bid to oust California Governor Gavin Newsom.
Well, that's accurate.
Yep. In 1976, I took on the Soviet Union and won. I will take on big tech's woke cancel culture and win for all of California and America. Time has come to stop silencing our voices.
She's running as liberal, right? We did establish that,
no,
right?
No.
Conservative.
Republican, yeah.
Republican. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing that blew my mind.
She's a traditional woman. I don't know what's the problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's also gotten a lot of pushback for her transgender stance. The recent thing, right, that she mentioned, she doesn't think that
trans men,
right?
No, trans women should be participating in sports,
right?
Or maybe just trans people in general. But
yeah, against cis women. But what we're trying to figure this
biological.
We're trying to figure this out. Well, technically, the chromosomes are different, so I'm going with biological. You can add us at Instagram at Homespun Yak. Kyle's in charge of most of that, so I'll just let him handle it. I'll just start fires and
YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just start fires and just add us.
I mean, yeah, it is. I guess surprising her stance based on her being a trans woman herself,
right?
And she's like, she's dating women, so she's
okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so she is. Would she be a lesbian?
I think so.
Would she be a straight?
I think she would be
biologically straight lesbian.
Oh God, you just complicated it. Biologically straight lesbian. I think she's just a lesbian. I think that's the proper.
Let's go with that.
I mean, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's just lesbian then.
Okay. But yeah, basically saying, if you were once a man, biologically, and you then decide to become a woman, you should not be able to compete in sports against biological women.
Right.
Which I agree with.
I agree as well, actually, really strongly, because it's something I'm actually educated in. But someone posted, a friend of mine actually posted this thing on Instagram on their stories, and it was on this very topic, and it was by an organization that quoted 2 or 3 doctors saying that trans women are identical, like physically, to cis women, and therefore there should be no restrictions on their competition, their ability to compete. And they should be stripped of their
doctorates or whatever it is.
Well, the quote unquote experts were, one of them I distinctly remember was a pediatrician. And I was just like, what the dude, when we're talking about qualifications, like why are we listening to a pediatrician about women's issues specifically? I mean, of course I'm not a woman either, but like I'm a generalist, so I like get educated in all kinds of different things. So but it's just, and I also have my master's in exercise physiology, so I do
no
understand.
research to back it up, just said it.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
yeah,
they
and
did
this
the same.
organization, which was like, I think like a maybe pro-trans organization, something along those lines. They were like, see, it was all very nicely made. It looked very aesthetic. This like little infographic of like, experts say, and it's like, which experts are you talking to? Because like you can literally just throw a rock and hit another expert, and they will say completely the opposite thing. Like most of them, 98% of experts will say the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Like as long as they're not cornered into this situation where they're like, you say what we want you to say or we'll cancel you too. As long as they don't have that fear, they will definitely say that there's innate differences that we cannot ignore. I will not back down from this. I will not.
No, and I don't understand what the problem is in even saying that, or even
It's just fact.
showing the science behind
It's just
that.
fact.
Yeah, there's no controversy about that at all. That's
Exactly.
the most non-controversial statement we've said this evening. And
Yes. And on top of that, like, you have examples. I know people people like to rely on anecdotes when, I don't know, for all kinds of stuff. Like in that same thing, they had said that there was no evidence that on a high school or collegiate level that trans athletes consistently outperform cis women. And I was just like, I literally just typed into Google, because I distinctly remember several examples. I just typed into Google like trans athlete beats women or something, like something really general, and like several articles just popped up immediately, like of trans women not just beating, but literally the first competition she not only won, she broke the state record.
unbelievable.
I mean, who are these people? Like, they're just making things up because they just want something, and that's where I get really bothered. And I will burn myself to
Prove this point.
to prove, like, to stick to science. I can't have that. I can't have that. I support all trans rights in every way, but I'm not going to start saying just buffoonery, just stuff that people want me to say just because it makes people feel better. Yeah. Like, I need science to be science. I'm going to keep saying it. God, it gets me so fucking amped up.
Yeah, you can't fictionalize science. You just can't do it.
That is a really slippery road. That is an avalanche.
Yeah, because once you start making those claims, then you can justify anything within that world that you want to justify.
Exactly.
Like keeping trans women playing against, or fighting against, or competing against, or weightlifting, fighting, like basketball. I mean, the list goes on of sports where men have just a better physical advantage than women. I mean, you put the Brooklyn Nets against like the Philadelphia Lynx, whatever it is, the WNBA equivalent. I mean, it is a blowout. I mean, they could stop playing offense after the first quarter and it would be over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not that those women aren't good. It's just, you got people like Kevin Durant. He's like 6'11", can shoot threes, can run up and down the court, dunk on people. I mean, I don't know. It just seems common sense to me.
Or in MMA, there's a great example, and I forgot the name of the person, but she competed.
Fallon Fox.
Is it Fallon Fox? I didn't want to say because I wasn't sure. But Fallon Fox defeated one woman. Didn't just defeat her. It was like in the first round, she literally cracked her skull open. Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like if people want to throw stuff at me of like, oh, you're being transphobic or whatnot, I need to throw back at them like, do you literally want to harm women? Like, do you genuinely want to kill women? Because because in that example, which is of course an extreme example, like cis women competing against trans women in that scenario after 1 year of hormone therapy, and you have examples of these trans women just shattering a person's skull, which doesn't happen normally. Like we can't just have a like just close our eyes and just stuff our ears, la 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 la. You know, like we can't do that. Like this person might have died. Probably has long-term health consequences as a result because of that. It's just,
I don't understand the need to compete against a different gender. I don't get that. Like, we each have our own, men have their own category, women have their own category. Why the urge to just be like, we should all play together? I don't get that.
but you realize, like, also, if that were to be the case, let's say you put everything mixed together, the rules would end up changing. We would reduce the find some way of like making equity in competition.
100%.
Women get a 50-yard head start in their race, like that kind of stuff. And somehow, like, I know, I mean, I imagine really competitive women would be like, no, fuck that. Like,
right.
No, I want to start and I want to beat men. And I'm sure they would. Like, in certain women are just like physically
CrossFit.
incredible.
I think about like CrossFit women, like,
yeah,
when they do the CrossFit games, like, they would just destroy me in all of those things.
They'd destroy
and probably
me.
some of the guys that are competing in
Absolutely.
the CrossFit games.
Absolutely.
Certain activities, I'm sure they would destroy.
Yep.
And I don't know where I was going with that, but it's just like, I don't know.
There are definitely women that are hyper competitive and really good at what they do, and physically elite, and they would defeat any average man. But then you, of course, take the extreme of like a physically elite man, and of course there's going to be a discrepancy no matter how you slice it. However, it's fuck. I hate when my brain does this. I lost my train of thought. I was gonna go somewhere with that. Women competing, CrossFit. Talked about MMA. Oh, it's not going to come back to me, I don't think.
Well, I found an article about Fallon Fox and talking about Outsports, a sports news website that focuses on LGBT issues in sports, named Fox the bravest athlete in history in a recent article. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just like, what are we doing? That's like,
fine.
That's just like when ESPN at the ESPYs, I can't remember what award, like Woman of the Year or something like, to Caitlyn Jenner.
Yep.
Woman of the Year was a woman for all of 3 months at that point, but Woman of the Year.
Yeah.
There's women in there who were women their whole lives in sports, and some battled cancer, whatever it was. Some, won, golf majors or won the World Cup maybe that year or something like that. Nah. I give it to Caitlyn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woman of the Year. That is nuts to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
just when you kind of lose your mind as an organization when you do that kind of shit. Which ESPN, I've
absolutely
been a vocal critic of for years now. I hate that company with a passion.
Yeah.
I think they're trash, but
I think so too, to be honest. And I don't even have like any strong feelings. I just, like, when I listen or watch any of their stuff, it's just very second rate. It's just it's goofy.
People screaming.
It's goofy. That's what it is. It's really
people
goofy.
Screaming. It's people who can. Let's see. It's people who are screaming. It's people who are very woke. It's people who maybe don't have the best grasp of the English language, but were born here. And it's people who who just give like generic takes in general, and it's all flashy and like, is this about sports? What is this about? Why am I tuning in to hear you talk about like this event in society? I don't give a shit about your take. You're a sports journalist. Let's hear about sports. Oh, wait, you don't have an original take on that either because you're a tool. You are a puppet, robot, fuckhead, and I hate ESPN. And that's why Barstool Sports is doing so well. That's why Pat McAfee Show is doing so well. These independent sports shows that operate, they're their own bosses. You know, they rely on subscriptions from people, and they're not afraid to give their take about anything involved in sports. It's not this generic cookie cutter bullshit.
Yep.
So ESPN just, they're just way too corporate and just way too up their own ass. They've got an agenda, and, you know, that's fine. It's clearly not working for them because they're losing a lot of revenue and viewers. So to hell with them.
There we have it, folks. Don't watch ESPN. Yeah, I've distanced myself from all their shows as well. But I remember what I was going to say. Do you remember by any chance the name of the woman that's a track athlete, and she has really high testosterone for a woman? And they were going to ask her to, or I don't know what happened with that, but they were going to ask her to take testosterone blockers or something like that to like lower her testosterone.
I can't remember her name, but I think she was like a Jamaican sprinter.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But she was phenomenal. But like, that's an example of like a person who is just genetically born to just be fantastic at this thing and is unbelievable at what she does. And we're trying to like diminish her. Like, it's such a fucked up narrative. Like, it's so weird. We live in this like weird world. Like, it's like that. Ultimately, it just comes down to like we're focusing so much on a minority of a population, which I do think that we do need to focus on trans people in sports and figure out a way to have them be able to have competition in a fair manner. But on the other hand, which sounds weird, but I as a scientist, not even as a man, just as a scientist, I think that we also have to protect women from being exposed to really detrimental societal, like, woketivism, where we end up causing all these issues. And I think on the flip side, like, hurting women, like this one woman, this one track athlete, like, she's so good at what she does, and instead of celebrating that, we end up trying to, like, castrate her almost, like try to remove the it's a genetic gift. She has a little bit, I mean, it's not like man level of testosterone, it's just a little bit higher than what most women would have. And the organizations are like, okay, well, this is the cutoff point for testosterone. It's like, but my point being, like, just like I was saying earlier, we would end up changing the competition rules if we mixed men and women together, because we want to make it fair. It's not even fairness. We want to make it equitable. We want to make it so that everybody has a chance at equal outcome. And that's the shittiest part, the equal outcome part. Instead of celebrating the people that are just, damn, they're just better. They're just better.
Right.
No matter what, they are just better. Like, and that's okay. People are going to be better. Like, think about the world in general. Like, it just makes sense. Like, if you go up to an MMA fighter and try to start a fight with an MMA fighter, we're going to be like, okay, but you got to have your hands, like, one of your hands has to be behind your back, because this is not equitable. It's like the point is, like, the world is never going to be equitable. like in society trying to force that on us leads us to far less competition. It devoids us of competition, and it leads to this pseudo like squishy world where we're just like, yeah, everybody wins, and it's just such bullshit. Oh
It
man.
really is. I mean, you think about the greatest athletes and like, the legends around like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders and Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, like the mystique and like the stories around that. And
And
it's like,
Cheryl, what's her name?
oh
The
yeah,
the
Cheryl
sister,
Miller.
Cheryl Miller. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
like one of the
Scored
greats.
100 points in a
Exactly.
game.
Exactly.
And yeah, just the freak athletes and then the legendary, performers aren't there because, you know, someone gave them that. They took it because they were just better than people around them physically and mentally. And some, had gifts and worked on those gifts and had it maybe a little bit of an advantage, but some didn't. And some just worked harder than people. So it encourages a lot of positive things when you all, it's one thing to start on an equal level, but not everybody's going to finish on an equal level, and it's no one's business to guarantee that that happens. No one has the right to do that because that's ultimately going to make people suffer and weaker in the long run, and that's what
Absolutely.
we don't want.
Yeah, and physically castrating someone because they are just destroying the competition is just the weirdest reaction. It's just so
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, she wasn't cheating in any way.
Nope. She was just better.
Yep.
You'd think that a society would be like, look at this woman that is a total badass
Mm-hmm.
and could defeat like most men on the planet, and is just like this anomaly that's like a genetic gift, and of course has worked tirelessly. I'm sure.
Right.
I'm sure she works
Oh yeah.
tirelessly at what she does as well. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah. It's insane.
But in the
But
meantime, we'll also ignore the people that are just literally almost killing women in
right.
the MMA ring. We'll just ignore that
Well,
discrepancy.
we'll label them brave.
Yeah, exactly. We'll label them
It's the
brave,
least
and the
brave
other.
thing you can ever do is become a woman and then fight against women,
Yeah,
or like play like you've been playing a sport as a dude till you're, I don't know, 25, let's say, and then you're like, I've been a woman my whole life and I'm going to transition into a woman. That's fine. You can
yep.
do that. That's great. But then to be like, now I can play against women, and maybe secretly that was my intention the whole time, or it's just I love playing this sport and now I can go pro because I couldn't go pro as a man because it wasn't that good. But now I can go pro as a woman. And like, if you dare say anything against it, like,
You're transphobic.
you're a bigot, a transphobe, and all this stuff. We're not, again, we're going to say that without thinking about the situation. It's people talking before they think, and people just need to get educated on a lot of things before they start spouting off bullshit about, you know, trans athletes and, when you can't give hormone blockers to like a baby and shit like that. I mean, that's when you've truly lost your mind. But that's maybe another conversation for another day. But it reminds me of a South Park episode, as many things in life do,
Naturally.
where there is this like ultra woke couple, right? And it's PC principal, and then there's his wife now who is a teacher at the school, and they fall in love because they're like extremely woke and PC,
Yeah.
and she's competing in like I guess like a strong woman event, like a
Mm,
strong man, but
yeah.
and she's like, they're like, what do you think about this trans woman athlete who will be competing? And she's been winning every year, but she's really PC. And she's like, oh, it's gonna be great. Like, I just encourage all trans people to do what they want to do, and especially in sports and the sport I love and all that stuff. And they're like, well, here she is. And literally it's Macho Man Randy Savage. And he just dominates, and she's just like comes in second place, and he's like rubbing it in, and but she refuses to be like, to admit like there's something off here a little bit, like this isn't fair, even though she's like visibly upset by it, and like just won't allow herself to say it, and it's just highlighting the hypocrisy of how people are feeling with it. Obviously an extreme example, but it is so hilarious. But yeah, that's just South Park really getting to the bottom of things.
It really is. That's hilarious.
I love when they do that. But yeah, again, we're all for trans rights in every way, but there's certain things that just
within the scope of
realism.
Don't check out.
That's it. Yeah. Exactly.
That's all it is.
Certain things that don't check out, because you don't see, what you do not see is women who become a trans man then saying, oh, I can't wait to compete against men in football, or now I can play in the NFL, or I can play, let's go to MMA now. Like, you will never see that. Unless it's like poker, or like, which is not even a gender game.
No, that's true.
Like chess, poker, stuff like that.
You'll see it. I think you'll see it, but there'll be no controversy because
they're coming last.
Exactly. And nobody thinks about like in one situation there's a huge controversy because people are coming in first with like barely even trying. They're coming in first. And in the other situation, they're coming in last, or maybe middle of the pack, or they're not winning, essentially. And it's like, how is nobody thinking about this? Like, maybe the hormone therapy idea isn't the only thing that's a factor when it comes to the differences between men and women. And 1 year after, like you said, 25 years or whatever, that a person is something. I know that it's like technically, according to the trans people, it's like offensive to call someone like a man for 25 years or whatever. It's supposed to be like misidentified as whatever. Like you get my point. But it's kind of hard to talk about this stuff without like.
I know. Sounding like insensitive, but it's just based on science.
Yeah, of course.
This one aspect,
Exactly.
But imagine you're in the bathroom, you're washing your hands, and then somebody like taps you on the shoulder, shoves you up against the stall. Give me your lunch money. It's Elliot Page.
Oh, Elliot Page. I forgot about him.
Jamming you up against the wall. Telling you.
Yeah.
That you need to fork up the lunch money for a milk. He drinks whole milk now. What would you do in that scenario?
All right, Kyle. I'll tell you what I would do.
Because he's a man.
That's true.
He's in the male bathroom.
That's a good point.
Jamming you up.
Elliot Page is also like 5'3".
So
I'd be towering.
He's a man now.
That's true. So I'd probably.
So would you treat her? Excuse me.
God damn it, Kyle.
Would you treat him, pardon me, as you would another man who tried to steal your lunch money? Would you defend yourself?
Would I defend myself? Well, unfortunately, I'm not a huge. My first line of defense is not socking someone, so I'd probably try to negotiate the situation. But he's
got your scruff of the neck.
Oh no! Can't reach the scruff of my neck. Like maybe
you're shoved up. You're caught off guard. You're shoved up against the stall. You're looking around. Then you look down and notice he's got you like this, pinned against the stall.
Yeah, wow.
Like
Okay.
right at your chest.
Wow, damn, that's tough. So
And then pulls out a little switch. Nah, doesn't need a switchblade
doesn't
yet.
need a switchblade yet. Wow.
No. Just sheer force alone, jamming you up.
Sheer force. Yeah. Yeah. If I'm completely honest with you, I'd probably laugh a little bit because I mean I'm being dead honest. Like I would probably laugh a little bit because I'd be like, you don't know.
Is this a joke?
You don't. Yeah. I'd probably try to negotiate. I mean, first I would laugh. Then I'd try to play it off as a joke, and then if they
and then he's like, "I'm dead serious."
Yeah, if he's dead serious, then I'd be like, "All right, well, let's go.
Let's dance.
Let's dance."
You want to see what being a guy is all about? Let's dance.
Although I did see a picture of him recently, he's ripped, like has
Really?
like washboard abs, and like looks great.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Looks like a
So
like
now
a
you really
swimsuit
still think you can?
swimsuit model.
You still think you're taking him with washboard abs?
I think I'll be all right.
All right.
What would you do in that situation, Mr. Hadley?
I mean, there's only one thing to do. Hand over the money. No, I think, I don't know, you might have to throw hands. Might have to do an elbow to the dome.
Yeah.
But that'll never happen.
No.
Just a little fun activity. Little fun practice activity.
So this is the kind of stuff too. Like we had a conversation. I mean, we've had at least one conversation about differences between men and women, and we talked about like how many women. And maybe this is just socialization. Although, frankly, it's not like I want to get violent ever. It's not like I'm thinking like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to get violent. But how many women do you think like create scenarios in their head like where they would have like a fight with someone, like a physical confrontation? Because I feel like men think about this kind of stuff. I'm not saying like on a regular basis, but like it is something that is one of our conversations just in general. I think that's because of because of our physicality, just the way that we are.
Can you word that? I was actually looking at Elliot Page.
You weren't expecting it to end right there.
No, it wasn't.
I was just saying like the differences in mindset between men and women. Like men, I feel like men have so many more conversations about violence. Like if it's hypotheticals or like the stuff that we've talked about, like where you have this like energy that's like pulsing through you, and you just like think of these like horrific scenarios in your head, and like what you would do in those situations and stuff like that. I wonder if women experience that first of all, and if it's really truly only because of socialization, or if it truly is like there is an aspect that's related to our biology, the differences between us.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you find the picture of Elliot Page?
I did, yeah.
The recent one with his shirt off and just like showing the washboard abs? Yeah. Looked pretty impressive, right?
I know. That's shocking.
Yeah. See what 15 times testosterone will do?
Yep. That is... That's juicing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
that's
literally.
What that'll do. That is juicing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
But I think it's more, biological. I mean, obviously women fight and women get into arguments and get into scraps with other people and can have tendency to violence. But you just look at the statistics, certainly in America. and probably it's true all over the world, but I would imagine most of the violent crimes are committed by men.
Yeah, I would imagine.
By an overwhelming majority. So I don't know. I think there's an innate desire for man to inflict physical pain on another man.
Right.
But we now have evolved enough. Our brains have evolved enough to, give us a filter to say, okay, well, just because this guy like maybe cut me off in traffic or did this thing does not mean that he is my enemy,
right,
and I need to kill him, or like
right,
he's going to like threaten my livelihood,
yeah,
or anything like that. But yeah, it's that's just how humans evolved over millions of years, is the struggle to survive. And if you're the more physically dominant species or gender, then you're going to express that dominance in a violent way in order to retain survival.
It's also the type of violence. Like it's not slapping, it's not pulling on the hair. It's like, I'm going to crush your bones. Mm-hmm. Like that. There's a different type of violence as well. That's
just
what I'm
wailing.
Yeah, it's wailing
on a guy.
Yeah,
just over and over.
Trying to like disfigure the person's face. Yeah. And with women, I'm not, and of course, like I'm excluding like MMA fighters, like trained fighters. Of course, like those women are trying to disfigure a person's face. Like they're absolute like
and
badasses.
They do.
But yeah, and they do. I'm saying just like on a base level, like how men fight compared to how women fight. Women, it's like I'm just trying to win, and it's kind of like an ego thing, which of course it massively is for men as well. Absolutely, it's a huge ego thing. But it's not just an ego thing. It's also like you're trying to actually hurt this person and potentially break bones in their body. It's not like a surface like, oh, I'm going to get a bruise or I'm going to